Hi there, folks. It's Paul, and the good folks at A Plus have asked if I would do a video. So I thought, sure, why not talk to the teachers of Alabama? I'll be talking today about some of the practices around technology. I know that's foremost on a lot of your minds right now as you've transitioned or are in the process of transitioning. This is the first. I'll probably do another one on various technologies that you might use with your students. But this is just a quick rules of thumb that you might use as you're setting up and thinking about your practice with your students. As we do this, I'll be using a new tool to me called Prezi Video that's available for free to teachers. And you should check it out too. Anyway, the first thing that teachers are often asked and school districts are often asked is around whether we go asynchronous or synchronous. In my experience, it's better to fall on the asynchronous side of things because that gives students a lot more room for them to finish their materials, to work at their own pace, and so forth. There's no hard, fast rules on this, however, since many of you are stuck in situations in which you have to do synchronous or you have to do asynchronous. There's a variety of ways that people taking up this digital space for their teaching is being articulated. So you want to pick what's right for you. But over the years, in my experience, having asynchronous learning, which is them working at their own pace, and then doing little check-ins along the way, either through Zoom or through another video conferencing tool, can be really helpful, either if you do that as part of your class or with just individual students that you have. The next thing I think that is really handy to do and to think about is to really be realistic about what students can do at home and constantly monitor your students so they don't get stressed out. I had a personal experience like that with my son who was getting really stressed out by math, really frustrated, and I had to do a little intervention with him about that. But really thinking about how much your students can really do in the amount of time that they have. It's different, obviously, from you in your own classrooms with them. Um, you get a lot less done, but you can go deeper and richer with them and actually do a little bit more differentiation with them too. But just be realistic about that and be empathetic in your treatment of them. This also leads into being direct, clear, and concise with the work that you're giving them and the directions that you have. I often put the same directions in multiple spaces and through multiple mediums. So if you create a video, if you wanted to, like I'm doing here with Prezi, you could do that or some other technology. And then also within the textual documents that they have. So having directions in multiple spaces so they don't get confused and all are on the same page going forward can be a big headache, can relieve big headaches later on. The next one is being really specific about what you want. I was reading online the other day of one teacher who was like, they're not getting it. They're not understanding what I'm asking them to do. And if she just would fall back on what she knew from her own classroom practice, which is to provide models of the materials that they want to aspire their students to, that can be hugely helpful. So remember that as well, is really be specific and offer them models. The next one here, which I think is important also, and I alluded to this just a little bit ago, also is to be empathetic and to laugh a lot with your students. Really check in with them more time than not at this time. It's better to err on the side of compassion, to really reach out to your students and be concerned about their well-being. Being a taskmaster at this time really won't serve your purpose very well. So sort of take a step back, listen to your students, hear your students, give them voice, and laugh with them if you can. And I know you can. Another thing to do is really up your communication game. I've touched on this a number of times already, but this would also entail having office hours. So online office hours, say between on Wednesday and Thursday, I'll have office hours where you can check in with me via Hangout or some other technology, or even the phone if you need to. But the technologies are there where students can share their screens and so forth. Zoom is a great tool that a lot of people have been using, as well as Google Hangouts. One thing I do want to mention, and I've seen a few things floating around of this online, is if students don't want to have their cameras on, that's perfectly okay, and you shouldn't require them to do that. There's various regulations around that. So follow their lead a bit, and if they don't want their camera on because they're shy or some other reason, be considerate of that. And finally, there are so many curated multimedia materials and tools out there to really integrate them into your coursework can add a huge boost for sure. I listed some of my favorite here. On YouTube, there's In a Nutshell, the TED Ed, and Crash Course. Crash Course, the guy talks a little fast, but the nice thing about videos, you can always stop it and replay it. And then there's a bunch of free tools that Richard Burney also has. He runs the site Free Technology for Teachers. He's a teacher himself, and he's been doing this, I don't know, almost a decade now. Really great materials. And of course, Prezi Video is an awesome one to use too. So with that, I just want to say thanks, and I'll come back with maybe some technologies if you found this useful. Come back with a few technologies to do a deep dive on, whether it be the use of video or some other tools, and I'll show you how to use those for your classroom. In the meantime, I think it's really important to breathe. Just breathe in and out, calm yourself. These are highly stressful times, and the more you can give yourself a break and treat yourself well and your family well, the better off you'll be, as well as your students. Okay, very nice talking with you, and I'm looking forward to doing more of these with you. Have a good day.